Long ago, in a land far away, two groups of people set out on a journey that would change their life forever. They faced storms, hunger, and battles, but the hardest challenge of all was learning to live together. This is a story of the Tutsi and Hutu, how they came to share the same land, and why their journey still matters today. Many years ago, the Tutsi and Hutu lived in different places. The Tutsi were cattle herders, moving with their animals across vast grasslands. They loved their cows, which provided milk, meat, and wealth. The Hutu were farmers, growing crops like bananas, beans, and sorghum. They settled in villages, working the land with their hands. Life was hard, but they managed. Then, something changed. The land they lived on began to dry up. Rivers disappeared, and the grass turned brown. There wasn't enough food or water for everyone. The Tutsi watched their cattle grow thin and weak. The Hutus' crops failed, leaving their families hungry. They knew they had to leave. The Tutsi packed their few belongings and gathered their cattle. The Hutu collected seeds, tools, and whatever food they could carry. Together, they set off on a long, dangerous journey to find a new home. The journey was not easy. The Tutsi, with their cattle, moved slowly. The Hutu, carrying heavy loads, struggled to keep up. Along the way, they faced wild animals, harsh weather, and sickness. Some people didn't survive. At first, the Tutsi and Hutu traveled separately. The Tutsi moved ahead with their cattle, while the Hutu followed behind. But as the journey grew harder, they realized they needed each other. One day, a terrible storm hit. The wind howled, and the rain poured down. The Tutsi's cattle scattered, and the Hutus' food supplies were ruined. They huddled together for warmth, sharing what little they had. The Tutsi offered milk and meat from their cattle, while the Hutu shared their knowledge of the land and how to find edible plants. Together, they were stronger. They learned to rely on each other, even though they were different. After many months, they reached a beautiful land of rolling hills, fertile soil, and clear lakes. It was Rwanda, a place that seemed like paradise after the hardships they had faced. The Tutsi saw lush grasslands for their cattle, and the Hutu saw rich soil for their crops. But there was a problem. The land wasn't empty. Other groups already lived there. The Tutsi and Hutu had to fight for their place in this new land. Sometimes they fought together against other tribes. They used their combined strength to defend their new home. Other times, they fought each other over resources. The Tutsi wanted the best grazing land for their cattle, while the Hutu needed fertile soil for their crops. It was a time of both cooperation and conflict. They were learning how to share the land, but it wasn't easy. Over time, the Tutsi and Hutu began to settle down. The Tutsi, with their cattle, took control of the hills and grasslands. They became the rulers and leaders, using their wealth and power to build kingdoms. The Hutu, with their farming skills, worked the fertile valleys. They grew the food that fed everyone. They traded with each other, milk and meat for crops and tools. They celebrated together during harvests and weddings. But differences remained. The Tutsi, who were fewer in number, held most of the power. The Hutu, who were more numerous, often felt left out. This created tension. Sometimes they lived in peace. Other times they clashed over power and resources. The story of the Tutsi and Hutu is one of struggle, survival, and learning to live together. They came from different places, faced incredible challenges, and built a shared home in Rwanda, but their differences never fully disappeared. In the years that followed, their relationship became more complicated. Colonial rulers arrived and made things worse by favoring one group over the other. This deepened the divide between the Tutsi and Hutu, leading to conflict that still affect Rwanda today. But their story also reminds us of the power of resilience and the importance of finding common ground. Despite their differences, the Tutsi and Hutu once worked together to survive and build a new life. And so, the Great Migration of the Tutsi and Hutu became a story of hope and hardship, of unity and division. It's a story that still echoes in the hills of Rwanda, reminding us that sharing a land doesn't always mean sharing a life. It takes more than just living side by side to create peace. It takes understanding, respect, and a willingness to work together.